Hello and thank you for coming to check out this video. In this one we are going to be logging in and testing our Jabber setup and making sure that some of the things that we configured actually work. On the left hand side I have my Windows server where I did my DNS, DHCP, Active Directory and all those other things. I installed my Cisco Jabber there instead of making another Windows workstation. And then off to the right I have my Windows workstation that I had installed about 2 videos back, and on that side I'll be logging in with user 1. On the left hand side I'll be logging in with user 2. So let's go ahead and do user 2 at and then the domain. And then over here we'll get user 1 plugged in. Let's go ahead and try to log in and see if they can find their services. So we can see that user 2 already automatically found the services. Ideally user 1 should be able to do that as well, but it looks like it's taking a little bit longer. Alright, so now user 1 is up to par. So we'll do the password here, try to sign in, same deal over here, try to sign in. Alright, we're getting cannot communicate with the server on user 2. User 1 seems to be running kind of slow. Now for this cannot communicate with the server, we'll come back to see what's going on with user 1 a little bit later. But we'll come over here to the self-care portal and we'll put in user 2 and try to log in. And we see you do not have the required permissions, or sorry, privileges to access this system. And so if we were able to log into the self-care portal, that would tell us that there's nothing wrong with the user's configuration. It would then become a problem of, the user authentication or maybe something else with IP connectivity. Now let's go back over to the admin page, see what we can figure out about this user 2. I'm going to see about user 1. So this one says your username and password is not correct. So we're getting a little bit different on this side. Alright, so let's go over here and user. Put in user 2. Oh, what's the first name? Okay, so we go to user 2. If you remember, we had created an access control group, but we never associated it. So let's go on here and find our IMP users access control group that we created and do add selected and then hit save. Now, user 1 didn't have this issue, and that's because in the past on a different video we had already given user 1 a lot of access. I think we gave it everything except for the standard CTI secure connection, something along those lines. So user 1 didn't get that cannot communicate with server problem because it has the permissions to be able to log in, but we do have this here, your username or password is not correct. Let's see what happens to Jabber here on this side now to make sure that it's not just a problem with user 1, see if it is more widespread. And so what we see here is that the issue is more widespread. It's not just a single user issue. Also, I'm using 2 different versions of Jabber. Let's just go ahead and take a look at that. File, help, about Cisco Jabber. 1292.54274, and then over here we'll go to gear icon, help, about Cisco Jabber, and you can see here is 12.8.1. So user 1 has a newer version than user 2, but it doesn't really matter because for what we're doing everything is going to function exactly the same. Now let's go ahead and look into this. How are we going to go about looking into this? We're going to go into the gear icon and we're going to go to help, report a problem. And then we're going to say sign in, sign out, and we're just going to put in some gibberish of some sort. and then I'm going to save it, and I'll save this on the desktop. So now we'll let that get generated, and here we have it. Let's see, 7-zip. We'll extract it to its own folder here on the desktop, and then let's go ahead and open it up. We see the jabber.log file. Right, if we go to properties, we'll see that this is a I don't know where the extension is, but it should be a jabber.log file. Let me see if I have Notepad++ on here, because looking at this with Notepad is just not what I want to do. Okay, I don't have Notepad++ here. Let me, I'm just going to copy this over to the other workstation where I know I have Notepad++. All right, so I've since copied over the file from workstation for user 1 onto my Windows server where I have Notepad++, and I'll just put in here username, or let's see if that picks it up. Yep, so right here it says your username or password is not correct. So whenever there's a prompt on the Jabber screen to the user, you should be able to search that text in the jabber.log file, which I don't think I mentioned it yet, but jabber.log, that file is the last 1 hour of logging that has occurred on the Jabber client. And so you can hop in there usually and find what you're looking for. Sometimes you got to look in some of the more historical log files, but for our case here, we're just going to look in jabber.log because we haven't really done much. We only just now launched the application and tried to log in. And now let's start looking for where that login failed. So it's telling us here login credential invalid. And we'll go up a little further. I'm going to highlight this. I'm looking for a login failure line that will actually give me an enum value about why this failed. So here we can see that this is the discovery phase, which was is going to happen before I actually put in my username or password. So we're going to go down a little further. We'll do Control F and look for user 1. Getting a lot of hits on that. I just wanted to look for where it says the username. Okay. So it's going to be around here, right there. That's the line I'm looking for, right there. And so you can see on login failed 37345. And we can go doing some searching on Google or looking at some really great presentations in the Cisco Live libraries. Now, there's a friend of mine named Josh Hammonds who did a great session at Cisco Live called Troubleshooting Jabber like Attack Engineer. And that session is just amazing. I'll put a link for that in the description. But for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to hop back over to our CUCM. We're going to go to System, LDAP, and then LDAP Authentication, because there's an issue when you are using the Use LDAP Authentication for end users and you're also using TLS. There's an issue with Jabber trying to get logged in, and it'll tell you that the password is wrong, username or password is wrong. Now we can use port 636. There's another one, I can't remember what it is, but we're going to use 32 3268 because from my experiences, 3268 is where it's at. That's one you want to have for Jabber to work in this lab environment. Now let's hop back over to our user 1. All right, so we're going to hop back over here to where user 1 is. And we're going to put the password back in and see how this goes. User 1's consistently slow. Okay, so now we're getting some success. We're at least able to log in. I'm going to skip this little tutorial deal. Let's see what's user 2 talking about. All right, so we're getting some success here. We're making some forward progress. We're actually able to log in. Now, let's go to File, or sorry, the gear icon, and we'll go to Help and Show Connection Status. Now you can see the soft phone says connection error. Ensure the server information in the phone services, blah, 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 contact your administrator, yada, yada. So the only area that we're looking good is on presence and directory. Voicemail is not good. Desk phone's not good. And soft phone's not good. Desk phone's okay because, well, we're not actually trying to connect to any device at the moment. And let's go check out let's take a look on the user 1 side of things. Okay, so the soft phone is good here. Desk phone just says not connected. All right, let's see why user 1 is different than user 2. So we'll hop back over here. We'll go user management and user. We'll take a look at user 1. We'll go to control devices, and we have a desk phone here. And then let's go on over to user 2. Right here we have user 2. And we don't have any devices here. Let's also take a look at the phones themselves, the CSF clients. So we can see CSF for user 1 is registered. Let's see if there's anything different here. Owner user ID, user 1. Let's see about over here. So this one says anonymous, there's no user. Okay, so what are the big differences we've seen here? That on the end user page itself, user 1 has a hard phone assigned, whereas user 2 doesn't in the controlled devices. And also on the end user configuration page, or sorry, on the phone configuration page, there's no user associated here. So let's see what happens when we put user 2 as the owner user ID. I may need to log out of Jabber to make this work. And then let's do an apply config there. Okay. Let's do a reset just to see if we can get any sort of progress here without actually logging out and logging in. Okay, so now let's go over to the user 2 Jabber. And I'm going to exit. And I'm going to relaunch it. And now, if you look down here, did you see what happened with the call settings with the soft phone? And then let's look here as well. So you can see that the device now shows as registered. And then also, let's go over to the end user, right? Well, actually, first, let's check the connection status again. All right, so now we're seeing some better stuff here, right? The desk phone's not connected, voicemail. And then if we wanted to here, we can't control a desk phone, right? But what about if we go over to user 1? We'll close that. And for user 1, I can actually control the desk phone through Jabber. That's because user 1 has a hard phone associated under its list of controlled devices. So now let's go back over here and go user management and user. We'll go to user 2. And then in the device association, let's hit find. And user 2 has the directory number 2000. So we're going to associate this device. And I'll hit save selected changes. We'll go back over here to the user. And we can see that there is now this controlled desk phone here. Let's go back to Jabber. I'll exit and then relaunch again. And then now let's see if we can do that device control through CTI. We can. All right. Now there's another thing that we were looking at. We were looking at the connection status for voicemail. So as of right now, I'm logged into user 2 on the left-hand side, and let's get that connection status back up top. And I've brought up the connection status, but I've also logged into user 1 on the right-hand side, and you can see over here that the voicemail status is the same on user 2 as well. Sorry, on user 1. So this lets us know that it's not just a problem that's unique to a single client or a single user. It seems to be more of a centralized issue, meaning that the issue is probably going to be on the Unity connection and not on the workstation of either of these users, or in the CUCM configuration of either of these users, or even in just the Unity connection but on just only one user. It's probably going to be in the Unity connection, and it's something that would have been applied to both users. So let's go ahead and pull up PRT. I'm going to maximize this screen and I'll close that out. We'll go under the gear icon, help, and then report a problem. And I'm going to do sign in, sign out, since we're trying to connect to Unity connection. And then in here we put a summary of the problem and blah, blah, blah. We put something better than that if we were doing this in real life. And then this is here, so I'll go ahead and extract it to its own folder with 7-zip. And then let's hop in there. And we should be able to just hop into this jabber.log file, but I'm just going to copy out the whole thing here. And we'll open up Notepad++, paste the directory in here, and then I'm going to put in CUC, or HQ, CUC, pub, and see if we get any hits on that. So these are going to be hits from the config file, and then I'm not too sure what those are, but down here is going to be the actual jabber.log file. That was our last 1 hour of logs. So let's go on down here and see what's going on. We're getting some stuff about the certificates. I'm going to go down to the very last line and let's see what we find here. Let me highlight this. So we're getting this voicemail error here. Voicemail failed to start. Okay. So let's go here and check the end of the line, right? So we get return error code 25, right? Fail with error, return error code 25, description, not authorized, password must change, right? And so it's telling us you must reset your password using the password reset URI. Now, this is for our connection to voicemail. You can even see it here. And so let's go ahead and jump back over to our Windows server. Specifically, let's go to our Unity connection, and I'll log in here real quick. And then let's go check what's going on with our user. And so if we go over to users, and I think that was user 1 that we just checked out, but again, the issue is with user 1 and user 2. If we go over here, edit, and we see change password, we can go in here and try to change the password, but really what we want to do is the web application, since that's what we're trying to log into. But let's see if there's anything going on in the password settings, right? And see, it doesn't expire. Okay, cool. Web application is what we want. And so now take a look at this. User must change at next sign-in. That's our issue right now. And it should be applied to the other user, user 2, as well. So let's check out user 2 and go edit password settings, and then go to web application, save. And we have to uncheck that. Now, why did this get applied? Because we didn't go in here and check that box. And why is it applied to both users? Remember, I said that there needs to be some sort of something in common that was applied to both users, or some sort of centralized issue, right? Because it was happening on both Jabber clients for both users. If we go over here and check out the user templates, and we go to the voicemail user template, let's go under edit password settings and go to web application. User must change at next sign-in. So if we do this, now moving forward, when we add users, and matter of fact, let's go over here and act like we're going to add a new user. You can see that it's going to, we have to select a template, right? It's a required field. When we select it, it's the voicemail user template. And so that's why when we import our users, they came in with those settings already there. All right, so at this point, let's go ahead and get our Jabber users up side by side. Give me just a moment. All right, so I have user 2 on the left still, I have user 1 on the right still, and I've logged out of both of these. We'll just go ahead and sign back in. And then once we sign back in, we'll go ahead and check the connection status again to see if there was any changes with voicemail. So we'll go here, help, show connection. And you can see here now that we're able to connect to the voicemail. But there's still one more thing that I want to check. Let's make sure that the directory lookup works. User 1 is right there. It shows them as offline for now. And now they're coming online. We can see they're available. And then let's look for user 2. Here they are. They show as available. Let's see if we can say anything to the other person and they can receive it. Okay, it went that direction. Let's say a response back. But what happens if I try to call voicemail right now?
Enter your PIN followed by pound.
User 2 doesn't show as being on a call. And let's see if user 1 will look like they're on a call, and they don't. Right, so now there was something that we would have to look into to see why the presence isn't being shared. And if we log into the I am in presence, there is a SIP trunk that we created in our previous video. But if you remember, we had never applied it anywhere. So the question now would be like, well, what was the point of that that SIP trunk? Why did we make that? And you can see here there's a CUCM I am in presence published trunk, and right here IMP SIP trunk. Let's hit save on that. Now I don't remember if we need to sign out of the Jabber client again. Give me just a moment here. I'm going to get them side by side. Okay, so we have them side by side again. Let's go ahead and see if it changes now. Yeah, so you can see now that user 1 shows as on a call, and let's go ahead and test if user 2 will show as on a call.
Enter your PIN followed by pound.
Wah, 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 wah. So now we have unidirectional present
Enter your
status.
PIN followed by pound.
All right, and this is the last issue, I promise. Let's hop back over to the CUCM, and we'll go to device phone. And the device that we're logged into is the CSF user 2. So let's go on to that line. And now remember, we talked about this previously. Now let's scroll down to the bottom. And we have to, right here, users associated with line. We need to associate an end user. And let's associate user 2, add selected. And then now that says update successful, I'm going to hit apply config. Let's minimize that and let's go back and check it one more time.
Enter your
Now look
PIN
over here,
followed
it's
by
updating,
pound.
right? You see that that was updating the status, and just to be sure, let's make sure user 1 status still updates as well. All right, and so now we'll go ahead and close this video out, and we'll say that we've fully integrated our IAM presence with the CUCM, and we've got Jabber to where it can connect to Unity connection. We've got the ability to ping each other between the two different workstations. We've also got the ability to see each other's presence status, whether or not we're on a call or if we are away. Like, let's see, status away, changes over here, status do not disturb. So the presence and everything is good. I hope there was something of value for you in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.